This video is on how to set up the monitor on a soundboard. In this case, we're using a Studiolive AR16 USB board by Presonus. It's pretty much the same thing for a lot of boards. Like I've got the Mackie Pro16 also, so I'm going to advertise this as both because it's set up pretty much the same way on both. So let's start with colors. You'll notice here that there's monitor 1 and monitor 2, and I have an orange cable and a yellow cable, and these are 1/4-inch cables, and they go to speakers. There's a yellow one right there, and then over here is an orange one, and these are both on and turned up to a certain volume. And what they happen to be getting, the board happens to be getting input from this cable, this red cable. This is a stereo cable actually, and it comes here to this point on my board, which is a 2-channel stereo input port. So that's going to make my keyboard work. Now, what's the most essential elements for setting up your monitor? One of them is you have to have the monitor 1 and monitor 2 sliders up to some point where they're putting output out to these 2 monitor cables. So these 2 sliders here control these 2 cables here and their output. So that's one way that you can control your volume to your output. The other is that, of course, on the speakers, they have a volume control on the speakers themselves. Each of the speakers has a knob. This slider here for the channel that actually controls the keyboard is irrelevant. That sounds kind of strange. What I'm actually doing here is setting up these monitor speakers for my keyboardist because he likes to hear them coming underneath his legs like that, but we don't want them going out the house sound. We want it to just come from him. So anyway, that's kind of a peculiar setup normally. Anyway, so I guess the point is then once you have stuff set up that way, you come here to the keyboard, and if you turn the volume up just a little bit, turn it up a little more, so my keyboardist can then control his monitor output with his volume slider, and it doesn't go out the house sound at all. The house sound is, of course, these 2 cables here, and they go to speakers like this one over here and that one over there in my room. And I don't necessarily want the keyboard going out the house, although I could. If I was to choose to send it out the house, I could come to this slider here, and I could move this slider up, and I could get some of the keyboard going out the house. There are situations where that might be useful, so it's good to have that. So anyway, that is how I am using my monitor on this board. I hope this helps.